we are halfway through the regular season. Pittsburgh Pirates played their 81st game of the season, beating the Seattle Mariners. They finish up the first half of the season with a winning record for the first time in since 2015, which is the last time they made the playoffs. Um, yeah, they after losing the first game of the series, which also dropped them to under 500. They win the next two, jump back over 500. Henry Davis shows a little life with the bat, double home run. Brandon Lau hits his 19th home run of the season. Bubba Chandler keeps kind of stringing and putting things together. Maybe not as dominant as maybe you want, but I guess in the end, however you get around doing it, one run over 5 1/3, that's going to work out. You're going to win a lot of games like that. Little issues with Evan Sisk and Johan Ramirez at certain points in the outing there. They have to go to Mason Montgomery to kind of get him out. He records 4 outs. Gregory Soto, scoreless ninth. They walked a tightrope at times, but were able to get out of it. And a big performance by the bullpen. That's kind of looking for performances to kind of string things together. Before we kind of go through some of like the some of the first half stuff I wanted to talk about, we'll kind of just run through the minors real quick. AAA, they lose 6-4. Ronnie Simon goes 2 for 3 with 2 walks. Rafael Flores 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. Cam Sanders struck out 4 over 2 innings pitched. Connor Wietgrefe, it was announced this morning, or I guess Thursday, that he was getting promoted to Indianapolis. I don't know if this is a permanent thing or they just needed someone to cover innings for him. Indianapolis had Harrington and Curtis leave the game with injuries the day before. It sounded like they mentioned on the broadcast that they're both fine, so that's good news to hear. But the Indianapolis needed someone that can kind of fill some innings for him to kind of make things easier on the bullpen. They bring Wietgrefe up. He has an 18-inning scoreless streak in Altoona. ERA is at 0.39 for the month. He gets lit up a little bit. He got off to a slow start in Double-A as well, but Thursday he allowed 6 runs, 5 of them earned, on 8 hits and a walk over 6 innings. Not the greatest outing. Gave up 3 home runs. I will say, like, he was able to the slider, he was able to throw for strikes quite a bit. Struggled to throw strikes or keep it in the zone with the other pitches, and not overpowering stuff. So if you're gonna fall behind, you're gonna put yourself in a position to where you have to get one over, and that led to some damage being done. Double-A, they lose 7-4. Derek Berg 2 for 4 with a double. PJ Hilson 2 for 3 with a double, an RBI and a stolen base. They kind of go with like a bullpen game because it was supposed to be Wietgrefe who started for Altoona, but obviously he got moved up to Indy. Greensboro wins 3-2. Murph Gray 2 for 4 with a home run. He's hitting almost every night doing something, so like it feel pretty repetitive to kind of get into it with about him. Johnny Severino 1 for 3 with an RBI and a stolen base. Jack Anker made his high A debut, allowed an earned run on 2 hits and 3 walks, 4 strikeouts over 4 innings pitched. Led the system in whiffs last night with 16. Bradenton loses 8-5. Eddie King Jr. 3 for 5 with the RBI, a double, and a stolen base. Edglin Perez 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, a double. Complex team, they win 6-5. Hong-Sung Lee 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Robinson Smith, another solid outing. Control looked like it kind of got away from him a little bit. Walked 3 and 4 innings, but no runs allowed, which that's the big thing there. But like I mentioned before, the Pirates are now 81 games into the season, meaning they got 81 more to go. Big second half year. They're kind of hanging around kind of stuff. I guess it'll be kind of interesting to see how much they do, how much they kind of invest in trying to get this team into the next step. They'll need some bullpen help. They may need like a starter with so many guys that are going to be coming up against like innings limits and stuff like that. They might need someone else that they could kind of count on to pitch some innings, to log some innings, to eat some innings. I mean, that could be someone. That could be as simple as someone like Wilbur Dotel, I guess, if depending on how he comes back, which I think I saw that he's close to starting his rehab assignment to get back into the swing of things. But the bullpen, kind of like the highlight of the first half, and kind of like the biggest thing to watch in the second half. Mason Montgomery, Johan Ramirez, they've kind of been thrusted into positions to where you kind of need them to bridge the gap into the later innings, or even fill in towards their later innings. And kind of with their volatility, it's led to some sticky situations. Dennis Santana, he took he's taking a huge step back this year. Kind of looked like he was kind of figuring things out for a bit. Got blown up in Colorado. We'll see kind of how he bounces back. I mean, back when I first started doing these again, it feels almost on a nightly basis. We're talking about how the bullpen blew another lead, and like I think, especially with like Dennis, we want to talk about like them in higher leverage situations. According to Fangraphs, he has a 728 xFIP in high leverage situations, and that's just like for someone that they counted on. You know, they traded David Bednar, which kind of opened the door for Dennis Santana to be one of the key factors in the ninth. And I know they went into the season not really committed to using any particular person, that they'd kind of keep it matchup with Gregory Soto there as well. But the bullpen, that's the biggest highlight, the biggest storyline of the first half, and that's going to be the biggest storyline in the second half. What are they going to do to fix it? Are they going to look internally more? Teams start, I'd imagine it won't be too long before teams are going to be a lot more okay with parting with some relievers. So we'll see how active the Pirates are trying to make a move to bring in. I mean, you would probably think they're going to want to bring in at least a couple. You want another guy who can pitch in the late innings. You're going to want someone who could probably, you feel a little more comfortable with kind of bridging that gap. Because I would imagine there's going to be some times where Ashcraft, and especially Ashcraft, is kind of limited to 5 innings, regardless of how much the pitch count's at, just to kind of keep things in control. Injuries have played a pretty big part so far. They're down Spencer Horwitz now. They've been without Connor Griffin. They've been without O'Neal Cruz. We'll see how Griffin's back on a rehab assignment with he played in a game for Altoona, didn't play on Thursday, but we'll see how long he's doing a rehab, and how soon they get back healthy. Because I think how quickly they get back healthy and what where they're kind of at in the standings will kind of determine just how heavy you want to push in your chips here to try to make things happen. If Cruz comes back and he struggles, or Horwitz is kind of takes a while to get back, and maybe Connor Griffin takes a little bit to get going, and things start kind of slipping. Luckily, you have someone like Brian Reynolds, who has been absolutely fantastic this year. You have some other guys step up and stuff like that to kind of keep things afloat enough to kind of get them back to 100%, and then they can kind of reevaluate from there. But a couple players, I mentioned Brandon Lau hit his 19th home run. He's fourth among second basemen in F4 right now. Just, this is such a amazing trade for the Pirates. I mean, even if you were to say that the Pirates 1-for-1 got Brandon Lau for Mike Burrows, I think it's hard to argue that this isn't a win. And then you add in Mason Montgomery, Jake Mangum. I think it's just been a great trade for the Pirates, and Lau's definitely deserving of an all-star bid right now. Reynolds, I mean, I think you were justifiable if you wanted to be concerned about Reynolds heading into this year. Wrong side of 30. Looked like he took a little bit of a step back last year. So, I kind of, because I kind of felt the same way too. Like, I didn't think he would have a horrible season. I didn't even necessarily think that he was going to have another year like he did last year, where, a sub 100 WRC plus. But I did think that his upside was kind of capped just because of, the age kind of showed some signs of maybe some regression. But he's just kind of been a revelation this year, and especially for a team that struggled against left-handed pitching. He has a 175 WRC plus against lefties. He's on pace for his best F4 since 2021. He's in the top 5, top 10 in F4 and WRC among outfielders. So, I mean, I know it's gonna be hard to get multiple guys into the All-Star game, but I mean, you're looking at what Lau's done. You're looking at what Brian Reynolds is doing. You're looking at what someone like Braxton Ashcraft. I mean, we still have to toss out Paul Skeens as a possibility there, just because of the name recognition, and it feels like the Pirates have a good chance to be pretty well represented there. You talk about Ashcraft and Skeens. I mean, I think there's a good case to make that they're just as good, if not better, than any other 1-2 punch right now in baseball. They're top 10 in strikeouts and F4. Ashcraft, he's really close to crossing 100. He's one of the leaders in innings pitched. Skeens, I know Skeens hasn't. I talked about this already. I feel like it was it was pretty unrealistic to expect him to continue putting up like a sub-2 ERA for not even like the rest of his career, but even for like the next couple years. Clearly he's not. There's the command isn't as great as it was before, and the velocity is a little bit down. But a lot of the peripherals, like the xFIP and the xERA, all that kind of stuff is all at what he's at his career, if not better. So like the underlying stuff is saying he's just as good as last year. It's just that the numbers aren't quite catching up there. So maybe some positive regression coming his way. But I think a lot of that the Skeens panic is a little overhyped at this point. But yeah, first half done. It feels like the season's flying through. They started 3-game series against the Reds this weekend to kick off the second half. That'll be interesting. The Reds are in last place of the division. So a good chance for the Pirates to kind of build off their series win against the Mariners. Take 2 out of 3 here. Friday will be a little bit difficult. They're facing a lefty, and the Pirates have struggled against lefties. But yeah, we'll see how the season goes. I'll have and the midseason update. I know I talked about it a little bit before. Midseason update dropped on Thursday. Go check that out. You get 30% off a yearly subscription when you become a paid member. You have to sign up for a year. Check out Bucs on Deck Substack, daily content on the Pirates organization. Check out the YouTube channel. But until next time, you guys take it easy, and we'll talk to you guys later.